Episode of Domain TV, where we're talking about pioneering domain energetics, using domain energetics to take our human potential further than ever before. And gosh, there's so many things to talk about when it comes to domain, but we're going to cherry pick two things today. And these two things are energy sequencing and Myriad energy. So energy sequencing and Myriad energy underpin everything that exists. So that can be something that's physical, like this chair that I can touch and feel. It can be something energetic, so something non-physical, right out to our multiverse. They underpin everything. And the beautiful thing about energy sequences is that no two energy sequences are the same. So if you think about everything that exists, nothing is identical. Even two snowflakes are not identical, two fingerprints are not identical. And that's because they always have a unique set of energy sequencing underpinning them. So when I say the words energy sequencing, you don't have to be really technical. So when I first was understanding about domain energetics and I heard the phrase energy sequencing, I was like, gosh, that sounds really complex. I'm not a scientist. I don't want to be kind of writing down long formulas and that type of thing. But actually, the more you work with them, the more you can kind of feel them. Now, everyone's different. There are people that I work with who love seeing the detail of the energy sequences. They can often look like symbols and that type of thing in your mind's eye. But there's loads of people that just love to feel the energy of them and know that by working with domain energetics, which are the modality, they can gather energy sequencing through domain and use it as they want to on Earth. And so why would we want to do this on Earth? Why would we want to understand sequencing on Earth, but also beyond Earth, throughout Earth and universe and our multiverse? It's because if you think about domain, which is an energy holding located beyond our multiverses, it stores all energy sequences of everything that exists. So imagine the knowledge that domain has that we can tap into now. Imagine being able to tap into domain and get sequencing from somewhere that we can't physically reach as humans yet. So it could be somewhere on our Earth that we can't physically get to. It could be somewhere in our universe or multiverse. But imagine being able to get energy sequencing from elsewhere to help us here on Earth. The possibilities are endless. So think about, the possibilities are endless. I've written so many examples in this book, Our World, What Comes Next, which is all about domain energetics. But think about taking energy sequencing, perhaps from another planet within another universe, so from something that isn't available to us here on Earth, but that can help us heal or remedy something here on Earth. So it could be something to do with our physical body. It could be something to do with the landscape and environment. It could be something to do with our beloved pets. But being able to access that incredible database of energy sequencing and utilize it to our advantage here on Earth. What domain does through energetic sequencing is like open up the airways and access paths to everything. And this, I say kind of potentially a little bit matter-of-factly because I've been working with domain for a good couple of years now. I'm very familiar with it. I've seen what it can do, and I've seen what it can do for others, not just myself. But imagine the possibilities that accessing all of these new energy sequences can bring to us here on Earth. They may be able to help us refine some of our current energy sequencing around what we have already on Earth. So one massive example is I've been shown water on another planet through domain energetics, And the energy sequencing that creates that water means that the profile and the properties and the nature and design of that water makes it want to seek the light. So it naturally rises up through the soil. So imagine taking that sequencing and applying it to water here. So I've been shown, again through domain energetics, vast waters of chamber under Africa. And if we can adapt that energy sequencing and refine it with the energy sequencing that I've been shown from this other water that seeks the light, we can adapt it so that water starts to seek the light also. So the potential there of that and what that can offer us. So something like that won't necessarily happen overnight because it's about lots of people leveraging domain energetics together. But accessing multiversal energy sequences are literally lifting the lid on our potential now. There's no more glass ceiling. We literally are opening ourselves up to the multiverse, and it's wondrous. And it's not just about taking energy sequencing to use here. It's actually seeing in our mind's eye what's out in the universe and multiverse as well. So we're actually seeing things beyond where telescopes can go, and beyond where we know of and where we're theorizing about. So domain energetics open all of this up for us. And I'm currently recording a docuseries called Multiverse Discovered, which is going to take some time because I'm literally documenting my journey of everything that I'm learning about what is out there in our multiverse. But it's something that I will be sharing on this channel when it is ready. So you can subscribe here if you want to follow me for more in terms of what we are talking about here. So energy sequences are incredible to understand. And when you're taking energy sequences to utilize here on Earth, you can take sequencing from a singular source. So as an example that I wrote about in my book, when I was trying to stop a bruise coming out on my shin, I was shown energy sequencing from an algae type substance on another, not substance, algae type life on another planet in another universe. And so it was just that one source that my energy took the sequencing from and energetically applied it to my leg and my shin. Now, if this sounds a bit out there, I think just kind of allow yourself to remember that as humans, we're always evolving. There's always more that we can do with our physicality, but also now our energy. And as we're now truly here in the fifth dimension, it's like energetic capabilities and possibilities are like supersizing. We're able to access them. And so to be able to work with energy to resolve things, aid things, get insight around things, enhance things, is just taking our potential even further. You know, some of you have been watching some of my shorts, and one of you in particular mentioned there's so much more to what we can do and learn other than sort of just through our traditional five senses. And this is so true. You know, there's been stats over the years about how we only use a very small percentage of our brain. And it's because we're evolving. There's so much more potential for us. And energy and energetics and working with energetics is what it's all about. And what I love about domain energetics in particular is that they sort of blend awesome energetics that are pioneering and leading edge and science, but you don't have to be sciencey. I am not sciencey. I love what domain shows me, but I am absolutely not a scientist. So it's very usable for everyone. And of course, if you are very sciencey, you're going to love this also. So you can take singular energy sequencing to help you. You can also take mass energy sequencing. So when I was wanting to change the physique of my body a bit, I was shown sequencing of a kind of dancer physique, and I was taking sequencing from that whole physique en masse. So that was an example of mass sequencing. And over time, my body's build and formation was changing. And again, I've written about it in the book. Everything in this book is my own experiences of domain as I've been exploring it. So although loads of people that I've worked with have had their own experiences, this book is all about mine. So You can take mass sequencing in that type of way. You can also take broad sequencing. So this is what's really exciting for us as a human race and planet moving forwards, is you could take broad sequencing from a whole section of another planet in another universe. In another universe within our multiverse. And you can take that sequencing and apply it to potentially a whole rainforest here on our Earth. So again, think about the potential of that, about speeding up the regrowth of the Amazon rainforest, because obviously that's something that's really important and needed and wanted. These are the kind of vast possibilities that domain can open up to us. But then there's also multiple sequencing, where you can get maybe singular and some mass and some broad sequencing together. I also talk about in my book sequence mapping, and this is fascinating as well, because this is how God creates and how we create non-physically. So we're physical and alive on this earth at this moment, of course, but before we came to earth and after our time on earth, we were and will be non-physical. Our non-physical energy and our soul energy is eternal. And so non-physically, when some of us may have been creating certain things in the universe and multiverse, we would have been using sequence mapping, which is kind of like a map. If you think about an Ordnance Survey map as an example, and it kind of references all sequencing that's currently out there and kind of plots it if it's going to create something new. So we'll go into creation another time, but domain's very much about creation. And for something to be created physically, it needs to exist energetically first, hence energy sequences. So if you think about, if you were wanting to build something on an area of land, you would plot it out on a map. This isn't dissimilar to how it works in non-physical. So literally, you're kind of looking at the map and you're plotting your sequencing for what you want to create. And we know this can sound quite mind-blowing, and it definitely felt that way for me the first time I received this information myself, but actually it kind of makes logical sense. Don't get too logical, feel, because this is all about energy, and I think some people kind of stumble a bit because they're like, no, hang on a minute, that doesn't make sense in my mind. But if you think about how we might prep something here on Earth before we build it, why would that be different in non-physical? And think about prepping to create new planets, new universes. It's so exciting because domain energetics kind of give us these flows of insight way beyond what we traditionally know of. So domain are kind of, their energetics are very, very, very pioneering. So energy sequencing is fascinating. And if you think about the depth and breadth of everything that exists on our Earth, let alone throughout our universe and then our multiverse and then beyond our multiverse, because there's more than one multiverse, domain's incredible. So the fact we can now energetically tap into it, it's like just, lifting the roof, supersizing our potential now energetically as humans. So energy sequencing is the first thing that I speak about in this book. But the second thing that I wanted to introduce you to, if you're new to this, or talk about today, is Myriad energy. So Myriad energy is like the fabric energetically of everything. Nothing would exist without Myriad energy supporting it. So it's very underpinning is the best way to describe it. With this physical book, it's supported throughout with Myriad energy. Now, what does Myriad energy look like? I wanted to kind of share this with you today, because if you haven't read my book, it's made up of prisms. So you can see here, that is a prism. And it's literally got prisms within prisms within prisms, right down to micro, smaller than we can actually physically detect as physical humans. I had an experience about this, or with this actually, on Monday in my Pathway to Thrive Facebook group, which anyone that's interested in domain energetics is so welcome to come and join. And we were looking at microsystems, and I was literally shown smaller than what we know of in terms of atoms and molecules. It was fascinating. And so Myriad energy can kind of show us the micro right out to the macro. So likewise with macro, those prisms within prisms within prisms can support a whole universe, a whole multiverse, all that is. So you can go macro right down to micro, and it's stunning. Now, how does that work before I talk a little bit more about Myriad energy? When we're kind of seeing micro right out to macro, what's happening is our energetic side, so this is why we keep talking about energetics and energy, our energetic sides are transversing Myriad. So of course I'm physically here. When I'm talking about a microsystem, I'm not actually shrinking. It's not like Alice in Wonderland is what I'm being shown. It's not like Alice in Wonderland where I'm literally shrinking down physically and seeing everything. I'm still me, but my energy is transversing Myriad and showing me this. Or if I'm shown what a universe might look like, which actually I haven't been shown yet. I've been shown what Earth looks like from my own transversing of excuse me, Myriad energy. But there's always more. So I'm sure at some point on one of these episodes of Domain TV, which are kind of a little bit like diaries of my experiences and, you know, different conversations and discussions about Domain, I'm sure at some point in time that I will have that experience. That's going to be amazing. And actually, that's probably going to happen while I'm creating the Multiverse Discovered docuseries, is what I'm getting a sense of. But we're physically here, but our energies are transversing. And so again, imagine what that opens up for all of us who want to work with Domain. We can see things smaller than we've ever been able to detect. We can see things much further than where we can physically reach in terms of telescopes and spacecraft and that type of thing. You know, also with Myriad energy, when you're transversing it, yes, you can go micro to macro. So this also means seeing stuff on our planet that we don't even know of yet. There's a whole section in this book called Earth's Secrets and Unearthing Earth's Secrets. So that's fascinating to understand. But you can also transverse Myriad back in time to ancient civilizations as well. So although what I'm focused on more at the moment is multiverse discovered and exploring other life out there and that type of thing, there are those other flows as well. Myriad can be transversed throughout Earth and also backwards in time. It's incredible. So Myriad energy supports everything that we do with Domain. So if you think about Myriad energy as the fabric of everything that holds energy sequences in place so they can be, okay? So without Myriad energy, the energy sequencing of this book, as an example, it wouldn't be able to hold. The Myriad energy keeps that sequencing in place. And I've been shown as well how you can take sequencing and you can direct it, and again, I've written about it in the book, to a Myriad target. So say you're wanting to help an area of crops grow more quickly, as an example. You might receive sequencing from Domain that you can then target to that Myriad target, so that energy sequencing stays there. So if it's something like increased oxygen, as an example, you can harbour the sequencing within that Myriad target so it keeps there basically, and it keeps that heightened oxygen going. So Myriad is beautiful, and there's so much to Myriad in the same way that there's so much to energy sequencing. And I know over the coming years, as I'm recording more episodes of Domain TV, we'll understand more and more about Myriad and also energy sequencing. But one thing has already really opened up, even in the last 24 hours, about what Myriad energy can do. But that is in the Multiverse Discovered docuseries, and I'm not able to talk about any detail of that at the moment because I'm working with some people who have an Access All Areas pass, and everything that I'm recording they're able to see, but everything that we're recording and discussing is staying confidential in that Access All Areas place. But when the docuseries comes out, you'll hear about this. Now, if you want to come behind the scenes with me, Access All Areas passes are available, and you can learn more on my website, sarahmorganglobal.com/AAA. It's a very special coming together of people that are loving to explore and discover our multiverse, leveraging domain energetics before the docu-series comes out. So any questions on that, of course, just let me know. And so what else do I want to talk about in terms of myriad energy? This is really fascinating as well. This is something that's written about in the book. We can have on Earth myriad hotspots. Now, myriad hotspots are often places where myriad energy has been used in the past. So ancient civilizations such as the Egyptians used myriad energy. So when humans have been speculating over and asking the question, how on earth did the Egyptians build the pyramids? Myriad energy was how. It was fundamental. And so what's happened is we've sort of devolved a bit in terms of our use of myriad energy up until now. Now we're able to start really using it again and to take it beyond where the Egyptians took it. And I won't kind of go into all of the reasons why that happened right now, but that is what has happened. But the Egyptians weren't using domain like we can now use domain. So we've got myriad and domain together. But if you think about places like Giria Rock in India, if you think about even places like Stonehenge in the UK, like Easter Island, Machu Picchu, all of these ancient civilizations, they created these incredible builds because they were so tuned in to myriad energy. It's fascinating to uncover. It's in the Unearthing Earth's Secrets section of the book. And so myriad energy, where it's been used a lot on Earth in the past, there's myriad hotspots. So what I've written about in the book is there is a myriad hotspot in Africa, in Uganda, in the Ugandan rainforests, because what I've come to understand is Africa was the original continent here on Earth before everything started fragmenting and kind of the continents started separating. And so because it was the original continent, there's so much potent myriad energy there, because myriad is all about creating. If you think about nothing can be without myriad energy underpinning it, if you've got a myriad hotspot, there's going to be epic creation there. Think about new animals coming to Earth. Think about when Earth was first being populated with physical humans and animals and plant life. It would have all have been happening on Africa, the original continent first. And so it is potent in myriad energy. And that's why when we see things in places like Machu Picchu or Egypt or even Africa, if you think about the energy of Africa and how many people are drawn to it, it's because it's rich and potent in myriad energy. But what's starting to happen now is, as people are starting to proactively work with domain, whether it's through reading the book, whether it's through working with myself, however they're doing it, if they're starting to proactively work with domain, over time, they can become their own myriad hotspots. And this primes us as humans to be able to create extraordinary things, extraordinary new possibilities with domain energetics, energy sequencing, and myriad. So think about what I've spoken about just now. Water, getting it up from under Africa, speeding up the growth and regrowth of the Amazon rainforest. The more humans that are kind of loving working with domains, energetics and energy sequencing and myriad, the more of us will become myriad hotspots, which means we can just create incredible things. Now, all of this creation through energy sequencing and myriad, just to be clear, is safeguarded as well. So it's not that you can get sequencing from somewhere else in a multiverse, use it here on Earth and have a detrimental effect or a negative knock-on effect. Everything that domain will supply energetically is always harmonious for everything and harmonious for all, including, it might be if you're using domain energetics for your garden, they'll be harmonious for your garden, but also for you and also for all that is. So these are incredible new sequence flows that will only be shared by domain if they're harmonious for all. So you can feel really safe in that, because I know people that have taken energy sequencing through working with domain and myriad, and they're wanting to do things to help climate change and that type of thing. Of course, that's such a big area too. And that's one thing that I'm really excited about as our domain energetics community around the world starts to grow, or continues to grow, because we've already got some wonderful people around the world working with domain, but obviously over time that will grow as well. And so what was I saying? So to be able to take energy sequencing to help things like that is totally probable. It's not just possible, it is probable. And the more of us that are Myriad hotspots, the more of us that can do that, and it will always be in a way that's safe. So you cannot take sequencing to help one area of climate in our universe and in our earth and offset it elsewhere. It's safeguarded against that. Also, domain energetics work for you when you're really high vibration and truly a loving energy as well. So again, they're for all to use, but as we raise our vibration, we can really access them as we kind of ascend into the fifth dimension, which are not words I often talk about actually. I don't often use that wording. I think partly because in my mind, it feels a bit to me like it's a bit cliche, but actually it's true. We are ascending. We have ascended into the fifth dimension here on Earth, which is why energetic possibilities are now popping up for us in an incredible way. And domain energetics are one incredible form of energetics that we can access and work with. So hopefully that serves as a lovely introduction to energy sequencing and myriad energy, and how they are the fabric of everything, how they underpin everything, how they create everything, how they support everything. Incidentally, I've been shown in my mind's eye myriad energy within the center of the earth, and how that looks and how it can connect to other myriad energy at the core of other planets elsewhere in our universe and multiverse as well. It's fascinating. And so if you're wanting to have a go at connecting to domain, there's a free practice on my website. I think I've already mentioned this, but just to say again, at sarahmorganglobal.com/free. That's a brilliant place where you can literally go to now, get the practice and have a go. If you want to read more about domain energetics, there's so much in this book, so much beyond energy sequencing and myriad energy. This is a great place to come visit as well. Or come, actually on my website, you'll find on the area about the book, you can access read-alongs that I've done live through, like with this book. They're actually on this YouTube channel. You'll be able to find them here. Actually, there is a playlist. You don't need to go to my website. There's a playlist called Our World, What Comes Next read-alongs. You can listen to them, so you don't even have to buy the book if you don't want to, okay? And then also there's my Facebook group, Pathway to Thrive, and you'll find the details for that on my website, sarahmorganglobal.com, as well, on the page about the book. So there's lots of different ways you can kind of interact. Have a go at using and interacting with domain yourself as a starting point. And then obviously we'll keep sharing more here. We're going to be sharing these Domain TV episodes live every Friday at midday UK time. There's so much more to come. There's the Multiverse Discovered docu-series. If you want to be on the wait list for that, not a wait list as in like a wait list you have to pay, but like if you want to hear all the announcements and notifications about the upcoming docu-series, i.e. when it's ready and when we're actually airing it, you can join the wait list at sarahmorganglobal.com/discover. And so what I love about Domain is that it opens up history, Earth, universe, multiverse and beyond. It opens up the airways for us to really see what's out there now and to keep discovering, because what's really been resonating for me this week is that discovering is what makes us great. Exploring is what makes us great. That's how we're always expanding our potential and learning new. So we hope you've enjoyed this. Any questions, just pop them below. We'll always respond to comments. We're open to all comments and viewpoints as well. It's a very loving, safe space. So share away if you want to. And sending you so much love, and see you again this time next week for the next episode. Mwah.